Ah yes, Rugrats. Well, ah yes, Ren and Stimpy. Well, ah yes, story and storyboard artists for various Pixar films. Best to stop now, because I can go on for ages. But it shows what makes this entry, Creature Crunch, so fascinating. It actually seems like an ambitious title. This basically reminds me a lot of Nightmare Ned, a video game adaptation of a Disney show that was quickly abandoned by them, never even having a home release. In fact, I would say that this has a very similar graphic style of it being hand-drawn on top of the background similarity. How does this compare to a game like Nightmare Ned? Or in fact as a game on its own? Is this a creature that you should admire in a safari? Or should you just let it crunch you so that you won't have to live anymore? Stay tuned to find out.
Who's that pointing and clicking his way to internet fame? You might be a little too cool for your mainstream kind of games. But if you like retro consoles and obscure PC stuff, then you might just be hip enough for this pretentious hipster.
As mentioned before, the background of this is the most impressive part of the game. It was directed by Ted Mathot, who was involved in the stuff I mentioned before. It was written by Ken Segal, who was a story editor for a bunch of Pink Panther and Pals episodes quite a few years later. You can tell that they both have worked incredibly hard on this, especially Ted Mathot. The game contains over 20,000 unique drawings. However, when doing research, it seems that most shows have around 24 to 25,000 individual drawings, so it might not be as impressive. The cast is also a big part of it. In fact, it was such a big deal that they were shown on the front box. I find it funny how they used a white outline that many YouTubers, including me, do in their thumbnails. It stars Martin Short and Eugene Levy. Honestly, I don't really like it when they have famous people doing voice acting roles. I mean, like, look at the Mario movie. It's because you're going to be like, oh, this character is this sort of actor, instead of immersing you with the character itself. I'd rather just hear good voice acting as opposed to recognizing a voice. Fortunately, even though this has big stars, it still succeeds in that department. I couldn't really tell who was who, and I think that's quite awesome. Anyways, this ambition shows because Universal Cartoon Studios wanted to create a series, but after a few years in development, they cancelled it. I kinda wish I could see how the promos were at the time, because it was announced at E3 of 1996, with them showcasing stuff like Saturn and N64 games, and the price cut of PlayStation. It seems like no one cared about this. I couldn't find any images or videos of this game on the floor when googling it. The website for it seems to still exist, although it's hard to tell if it's owned by the game developers or publishers or not. Regardless, it says it's free of known copyright restrictions, and they gave a link of the game. It starts with Wesley riding down the street, who realizes that he's lost, and rain is starting. I will show you this segment of the game on its own because of its certain style and charm, and I think doing that is the best way for you to see if the game is for you or not.
I'm not just lost, I'm really lost. I should have just stayed home and played one of those CD-ROM games. Now I'm lost and I'm wet. That's the last place in the world I would ever go. Did I say that? I can't believe I just fell for that.
Thanks for dropping in. I'm your old friend, Dr. Drod.
You're not my friend.
But I am old enough to have created an entire army of creatures out of everyday household items. And the occasional unlucky visitor, such as yourself. I only need to make one more dreadful creature. One more. That's it. Then I'll have the whole set. Oh, I'd be happy to have that set completed.
What are you gonna do to me?
Same thing I do to everyone, except you will be my final creature. And you've got the makings of a great one, I'll tell you that. Right now, you've got the shoulders for it, and you're nicely rounded in the hip area. How's that sound?
Can I go to the bathroom first?
Impossible, my youthful creature to be. And now, say hello to Dr. Drod's almost instant genetic recombobulator. This baby's gonna turn you into my kind of monster. Ugly, stupid, but most of all, big. And I love big. Say, creature. This is great. Am I sane or what? Big eye.
Is that my hand?
Wow.
That's the only good thing that's happened to me all day.
It's actually got quite the interesting setup. You then meet your sidekick, who is a brain in a jar that starts flying around. Upon reaching this room, you start seeing what the bulk of the gameplay is, as opposed to seeing its frankly amazing graphics. You basically click on everything multiple times. Most of them have no progress towards the plot, but they provide some sort of humorous interaction with the items. For example, you have some of these in this room. I then enter the next room and see, well, this. Some sort of eyeball bodyguard. You can't interact with anything in this room as this happens.
That does it. Out you two pixies go. Through the door or out the window.
The solution? There are quite a few items that you add to your inventory, which involves you putting it in your underwear. And of course, when you look at your inventory, it shows that underwear. You then use that item to transform into something related to it, and use that to eliminate the bodyguard. You're then free to explore the room, and well, rinse and repeat. More explorations and funny interactions, sometimes quote unquote. Honestly, I could just show you what all the rooms are, but so much of it is based off of the surprise factor, so really I can only show so much. However, this comment on books was hilarious to me.
Reading was dismissed as quackery over 100 years ago.
You then exit the room and start to see how vast this mansion is. Of course, I'm the type that wants to explore the entire floor first, so it took me to the laundry room. You then meet this.
You're not dirty clothes.
But we are pretty well worn.
For a brain, you're not so funny.
Who dares sweep the lint of the ages off this stained and wrinkled heap? Should I be impressed? Ha! I am permanently pressed. Ha ha ha.
This guy's got too much starch in his shorts.
And what is this in the chute?
Egg. Roll. Egg roll.
I
Rhombus.
Sure. The mansion is actually quite big. There's like 3 floors and around a dozen rooms, with tons of interactions to do and eyeball bodyguards to get rid of. Some of it becomes super random and absurdist, especially with its onslaught pacing depending on the speed you interact with them. And with it being the 90s, some of it didn't age well. I would like to show a 1 or 2 minute example of this room so you can get a general idea.
How does this mask look on me? Good? How does this mask look on me? Bad?
Dr. Theodosius Extra. Is it Halloween yet? Is it Halloween yet?
Salt!
Note to myself.
Boy, is it hot in here. Boy, is it cold in here.
Hey, listen, don't let me out, 'cause I'll kill you and everybody else in the whole world. Okay?
Okay.
Hey, listen, don't let me out, 'cause I'll kill you and everybody else in the whole world. Okay?
Okay.
I've been here since the 3rd grade, and I stink.
I'm free, but I'm not fat free.
Those geeks just left me here. I never should have eaten those seeds. How about fried apple rings? Those geeks just left me here.
Hey, we're slaves!
Of course, this is one of the items you put in your pants. I don't know anyone who want to put that in their pants. I then meet another one of those guards in the dining room. That's the strange thing about this game. It's so hard to figure out which items will work against which eyeball bodyguard. But then again, considering the absurdist nature of this, it making no sense kind of makes sense. If that makes sense. Of course, when you get all of these items, it's just going to be even more ridiculous. So, it comes down to more exploring. I go through the other rooms on this floor. It then shows another thing which could be an advantage, but I found this to be so annoying. I click on this, and it's a shortcut to another room in another floor, the laundry chute. Now, this can be useful if you know where to go, but A, this mansion isn't the biggest, and B, you don't really know where you'll be going the first time you go through there, and C, you most likely didn't interact with every item in the room, so you gotta go back to finish that. I then met another one of the eyeball guards, and with the 3 items I thought, hey, maybe one of them will work. This leads to the annoying part. You will usually find 1 or 2 items at a time, and it will make you go to every bodyguard possible every time you find a new one. There's just way too much backtracking when it comes to this. Eventually there will be these shortcuts, and they take you to hidden portions of the mansion. So it actually has more of an incentive for you to go through there. Oh, a hunting room, that looks cool. And yay, one of the items already worked. I can't tell this will already have all of the amazing item interactions. Oh, never mind. Took me into another part of the mansion. I couldn't get out of this part at first too, so the completionist in me was more than annoyed with this. The items then more than start adding up, but of course this means a higher chance that you already have the item required to defeat the eyeball bodyguards. I love how you eliminate this maid eyeball bodyguard, for example.
Don't eat that. You'll have someone else's nightmares.
Today on Wesley, monsters who dress up as French maids and the evil scientists who love them. And our very special guest is you.
Do we still have to pay him?
It then leads to this simulation issue. Sounds like a musician that I know of. Of course, this isn't the fault of the game, it's emulation issues. Just thought I should warn you that this might happen. The items eventually become overwhelming, but you will slowly start to realize that they have a theme, and that they might be useful for something else. What that use is, I might as well leave it as a surprise. There are quite a few flaws with this, but it all comes down to whether or not you're going to click with the humor. If you enjoy the cutscenes that I showed you, or you like shows like Ren Stimpy, and you don't mind playing something that will take like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours to beat, and that's if you're stuck, then I would recommend this. Thanks for watching.